This is worth mentioning, though. Oh, geez, Dom with the backgrounds again. He's given up on funky ratings. Now he's going to backgrounds.
This is much easier.
Anyway, The Godfather Part 3 is in the news once again. The Coppola cut of Godfather Part 3. You know, for being one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, as he's often referred, Francis Ford Coppola sure does a hell of a lot of restoring and re-editing his movies. Like, he's almost gotten worse than George Lucas in this respect. Because this is not the first time he's done this. They are working, and they're done. It's coming out in December. They have worked on restoring, with Coppola's explicit involvement, restoring The Godfather Part 3. And Coppola's done this in the past with his movie Tucker, as well as Apocalypse Now.
Oh, I love the Apocalypse Now cut. Oh, my God.
The Godfather Part 3, though, has completed a full-blown restoration and reworking, and it's going to be known as Mario Puzo's The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. That's what it's going to be known as. At first, I thought they were trying to pack all the three movies into one, and that was going to be the overarching title. I got really confused for a second, but that's what they're going to be calling this one. It's going to be more truer to Coppola and Puzo's vision, Godfather Part 3, because Godfather Part 3 gets reviled in some film circles. And I've seen the first Godfather myself about 4 times. I've seen the second and third one only once. I'm not a fan of the third one, but I hesitate even calling it a blemish on the trilogy, because the problem I always had with the Godfather Part 3, the story's good. Like, the narrative direction they took for that movie I thought was good, about the Corleone family and the dynasty trying to legitimize themselves and tie themselves to the Vatican Bank. I thought that was actually a legitimate storyline, and I liked Andy Garcia as Vincent too. The problem with Part 3, though, is that it's not as graceful as the first two. It's very choppy. It's not like in the second one you could make the argument as too, but the second one is more balanced with cutting back and forth. This one's kind of all over the place. There's a lot of backroom dealings with the Vatican Bank that aren't necessarily interesting. And I also think part of the problem too with Part 3, it's not all on Sofia Coppola's shoulders, as some critics would lead you to believe. I don't think she's great in the film, but I don't think she's the main reason it's not that good. It also really lacked the prestige performances of Part 2, because a lot of heads rolled in Part 2, if you remember. A lot of people died by the end of that movie. So they were never really gunning to make Part 3. Coppola has come out and said he was like Wes Craven with The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. He did it because he needed money. Because Tucker bombed and a couple other of his movies bombed, he needed money. And the studio was hounding him. Paramount was hounding him to close the trilogy. So that's why he made Part 3 in the first place. He really needed money. And, like, you didn't have Robert Duvall in it. You didn't have a handful of really good performers that you had in the previous two. But that's kind of, I guess I gotta say, my little review of The Godfather Part 3 there. But it is going to be restored. It's going to be released on streaming services probably next year. I think it's getting something of a theatrical run, whatever the hell that means, in 2020, come the end of the year. Dominic, your thoughts? I know you like the Godfather trilogy. Am I right?
I love there's something about the Godfather. It's like a rite of passage for some men, boys to men, for some families. My dad he loves crime movies, particularly the Coppola, Scorsese types. So, like, he showed me The Godfather, and I think we can all agree that Godfather, when you consider 1 and 2 are like in contention with each other for best films ever made, the third one is objectively the worst. But I agree, but like I freaking love the hell out of the third one, out of kind of a guilty pleasure, but not really, because it is a legitimately really good movie. And if you've ever skipped out on Part 3 because you hear bad things about it, forget it. Watch Part 3. It's damn good. There are some great and awesome scenes on it, but particularly here with the remaster, I am super interested to see what Coppola has in store, because I'm very interesting to see what a different take on that might be. Maybe something a faster pace, maybe even less Vatican stuff. I don't think they can write it out entirely because it's too much part of the climax. But I do love that shot where he throws the freaking bishop from the stairs. But it'll be interesting, and it's just we have to just wait and see. I have read there's a Vanity Fair article on it where I think they talked to Coppola, or at least Coppola talked to someone, And he said that he's really hoping that we see his daughter, Sofia Coppola, in a different light once he re-edits this. I don't know if his cutting will necessarily do that, just because she has so much screen time. And again, I don't want to freaking pounce on Sofia Coppola, because it's not just her alone, but she is kind of a sore thumb. But also consider she was freaking 19 years old and had never like trained to become an actress at all. Her dad literally just brought her in and was like, "Okay, we're not getting Winona Ryder. Hey, yo, Sophia, come over here." Pretty much how it went.
Acting alongside
Yeah,
like some of the best actors at the time.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, it had to be
time.
hard on it. It had to be hard not only on him, but it had to be immensely difficult for her at the time.
I
to
blame
read
Francis
some-
Ford Coppola for that. Like,
I
what
do
the
too.
hell were you thinking? Like, why would you bring your daughter into this? No hate for her at all. Because it's like, God damn, it's kind of like how people hate Hayden Christensen. And I'm like, yo, calm down. This was the script's fault, man. That was Lucas. But anyway, yeah, it's a wait and see kind of thing. It's interesting. Oh yeah, the Vanity Fair also said that Tom Hagen, or I'm sorry, Robert Duvall was supposed to return in part 3, possibly even get whacked in part 3, but due to a pay dispute, he was not able to join. I'm like, God, why did I have to learn that? Because that just makes me hate Godfather Part 3 a little less, because he was replaced by, I'm sure, a good actor, but I didn't give a shit because it's not Tom freaking Hagen, the brains behind the operation. But anyway, Joe, the real Italiano here in the group.
Yeah.
Don't say that, because guess what? I've never seen 2 or 3.
Get the fuck out of here.
I like kind of like
Joe and I are usually similar though, because we like just like Back to the Future. You stop after you've seen the first one.
Because like, I mean, I've always heard Godfather Part 2 is amazing. I could just never find it anywhere. It's just like,
What?
yeah, like I could never find it on TV. I could never, and I don't want to watch it on TV. I don't want to watch it censored. I can never find it streaming anywhere. Anytime I try finding it at FYE or something, I can never find a copy. I'm always like, where the hell is this damn thing? And just over
it's
time,
one of those movies you got to get the DVD box set or something,
Yeah,
because
I
it's
guess
just a
so.
legend. So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, but I'll say this. I mean, now that this is coming out, I have more of a reason to hunt down at least Part 2, because Part 3 obviously will be widespread and easier to find now when this comes out. And I'm excited for this. Actually, like, this whole, I've been joking around with this whole Snyder Cut thing and like making fun out of it. But if this is like the new thing that's gonna be happening to either streaming services, like remember how we talked about Hamilton being the new like thing for streaming services to fight over, which is musicals and Broadway plays, like the live like recordings of them. What if now these like Ford Coppola cuts, these director cuts of these films now become the new thing? So like when
That's
Blade
a
Runner,
hot take. I like that.
when Blade Runner 2049 gets its thing, or when hell, I don't know, when Zack Snyder has to do the Justice League again because people didn't like it. Like, I don't know. Or if we get the Rian Johnson cut of Last Jedi, and like all this other stupid stuff. Like, what if we get like, that's the new thing. That's the new thing that streaming services fight over. I'm down with this. I actually think it's a cool idea. I always love seeing more of a director's vision, especially when it's a retelling of something as big as The Godfather. Like, and as much crap as I give Zack Snyder about like him in his Batman versus Superman movie, I am interested to see, because the original Justice League is just a studio cookie cutter film for me. So it's like, all right, let's see if this actually would have been better, or what we got was perfectly fine. I'm interested in seeing this. I think it's cool that we're getting this. It gives me more reason to see the Godfather films right now. And yeah, I mean, that's all I really got to say about it, because I haven't seen Godfather Part 3, so I really don't have anything really to add. Like, oh, I hope like they changed these parts about it. I don't even know. I never heard of this whole hate about Sofia Coppola either.
Yeah, Godfather 3 is definitely the worst, and Sofia Coppola's acting performance is woefully underdeveloped.
Okay.
And I do believe that editing can make or break a performance. It can screw you over, like I'm sure it did for Liu Yifei, who probably had in Mulan, the remake, where she probably had more screen time, probably had more expression, but like she was just edited to hell. I freaking hate how they cut that movie. so bad. But anyway, so we'll see with the recuts. I don't know if it'll make that much of a difference for Sofia Coppola particularly. I think she's even moved on from acting and she's just 100% director, which I mean that's clearly her bag because she's made some hits with that, made some classics. But we'll just wait and see. Are we going to review it? I don't know. Maybe.
I want to see the Josh Trank cut of Fantastic
yeah, there
Four.
it is.
And force
That's what I want to see. I want to see
boy.
my boy Trank's original vision.